My wife is torn between me and her 23-year-old AP, and my heart is breaking. I can't choose you, she says, as I fight to keep our family together. After 12 years, will I lose my soulmate and our little girl to a guy who has no idea what love really means? I regret to inform you that a significant amount of error correction, rephrasing, and expansion would be required to meet your guidelines. Please see the corrected post below. I have a significant vent coming, sort of. I bounce around too. I am a 28-year-old male, and my wife is a 28-year-old female. Her affair partner is a 23-year-old male. I am at a loss for words and emotions. I have known my wife since high school, and we have been together for a total of 12 years, approaching 3 years of marriage. We have a 2-year-old daughter. Our families get along wonderfully, including both siblings and parents, and our friends are all mutual, providing us with a great support system. Over the years, I know I have disappointed her in various aspects due to partying, especially during college and afterward, as well as not choosing her in certain situations and putting myself first. I was under the impression that we had worked through those scenarios. Now she is looking back and reasoning through those events to make a decision about us. We have a rich history together. I feel intertwined with her on a deep level and know she is my person and vice versa. After we had our daughter, she struggled with postpartum issues and did not enjoy her job. Therefore, I encouraged her to seek a new position in her field, as she was only temporarily employed in that role, which worked for our parents watching our daughter during the week. It took her little to no time to find a new job, and she loved it immediately. It reminded her of her potential. She was so excited, buying new clothes and dressing up for her workdays. It made me incredibly proud, and I was delighted that she was settling into a new groove and a comfortable position. She started her new job in September and met another man through her workplace. I have been informed that their expressions of feelings for each other were not verbalized until December. My day of discovery was January 12th, when she sat me down with a list of past grievances she had been holding onto, called me immature, stated that she could not connect with me emotionally and intellectually, and felt we were on different wavelengths. We had a large New Year's party and her affair partner was there. I even met him and thanked him for being such a helpful coworker and friend to my wife, as she spoke highly of him. I shook his hand and everything. Looking back now, they were glued together all night, which makes me angry. Since that day, I have broken down, made a fool of myself, and felt insecure. I immediately asked if we could attend couples therapy, and she agreed. We have been going every 10 days since then. I have requested multiple times to go no contact with her affair partner, but she expressed that she does not want to. I have learned things through snooping, such as her going out of town for a work event, and her affair partner was not there as far as I know, but he took her to and from the airport after I had offered. They have a shared Spotify playlist, send each other Snapchat messages and TikToks daily, and she has a note on her phone with all the reasons she likes him, and he has a similar note. She would vent to him about me, and of course he was supportive and there for her. They would watch television shows and movies together while I was busy, exchanged Christmas and Valentine's gifts, and he held her for 16 minutes in the car when she was crying about us during work one day. I am incredibly hurt that she continued to do this during my ongoing agony. As far as I know, they have not kissed or had sexual relations yet. I am trying to empathize with her and navigate this because I hurt her in the past with those scenarios that she reflects on, so I was attempting to be patient. However, my insecurities would surface. I would find notes from him or look through her phone and discover things. Then she changed her phone password, which added to my distress. This situation persisted through my birthday, and the day before my birthday we decided to separate. March 2nd, it was an awful birthday, but the agreement was no contact with her affair partner, and I would give her space without contact so she could take the time to decide. Unfortunately, I did not adhere well to the no-contact rule, and she continued to communicate with her affair partner. The separation was challenging for both of us. I genuinely attempted to work on myself by going to the gym, reading marriage books, and everything I did was in the hope that she would suddenly realize that it was foolish to pursue that relationship, and that she would choose me so we could begin our marriage anew. I do not sleep well, and when I do, I have incredibly vivid dreams about them. I feel physically uncomfortable, which is irrational. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I finally felt like I hit my limit. I had not been able to trust her in any way, so I decided to tell her during our next therapy session that I needed a definitive decision and that I had boundaries for her at work if she chose to remain employed in her current role. I want her to leave. But I was willing to accept it if she made specific adjustments to her situation there. They do not always work the same shift, but she has another location she could transfer to or relocate her office. I felt that I was ready to take a firm stand. The day before therapy, we were supposed to go out to dinner and a movie. I arrived home from work before her, got ready, and intended to have fun that night despite everything. I missed her. When she came home, she was sobbing and told me she had just ended it with her affair partner, not to choose us, but for herself so she could find clarity. She did not agree to any of my terms for the boundaries, so I decided to put all my faith in us and trust her once more to honor that breakup, even though it was painful. I knew she would eventually grieve him, but witnessing her struggle with someone else was something I wish no spouse ever had to experience. I could sense her regret, but I still took it as a victory. We made the decision to continue our separation and genuinely try this time. I believed she would cease reaching out to him, so I accepted the separation. She also requested to remove her location settings on her phone, which I was monitoring closely, and it was probably best for me, and we agreed to focus on ourselves. I finally felt like I would have a chance to demonstrate to her that I am still here and want to improve our relationship, but she needed space. This was on April 4th. We have tried to spend time together, and we had a good first week after the separation, but I sensed she was off and still deeply saddened by the loss of her affair partner. We had a couple of difficult conversations about our relationship during this time, and essentially, she decided to divorce twice without explicitly stating it. Yesterday was Easter, and it was incredibly challenging for me to maintain my composure. My instincts told me something was off. I asked her if she had been in contact with her affair partner, and she admitted to communicating with him at work. I shrugged it off and attempted to enjoy the day. However, while heading to Easter, I noticed her phone log and it showed his name. She had lied to me again. I confronted her, asking her to be honest, and she admitted she had spoken to him daily since April 13th, so she only managed 9 days without contact. She is aware that it is wrong, which is what is most painful. Our conversation yesterday started with her stating that she had decided to end our marriage before I discovered her phone calls, and I essentially begged her, passionately expressing the depth of my love for her, our history together, what our daughter would experience, how I cannot imagine her affair partner being involved in our daughter's life, though I know I do not have control over that, and how I cannot envision life without her. I told her that I now understand what she needs from me, and she expressed that she believes I can provide that for her. She is just so upset that I did not learn that sooner. I know she loves me and is reflecting on our history but is truly struggling to make a decision. I have never heard her say that she chooses us. However, I believe I shared all my thoughts yesterday without overreacting to her ongoing dishonesty. Our conversation concluded without a decision, and she still wishes to attend therapy at the end of the week, which suggests that I might have said something this time that resonated with her. I think I have only a slim chance left to show her that we can make this work. She is still here, which is meaningful to me. I am just so saddened by the possibility of divorce because of his influence. I would feel much better if I knew she had ended it with him and that we genuinely tried together. If we then fail, at least we could say we made an effort. However, if she resumes her relationship with him right away, it will destroy me. I hate that she does not perceive her affair partner as I do. She says they constantly laugh, he listens to her, and although she has not stated it yet, I can tell she loves him based on her actions toward me and her inability to follow through with the breakup. She views him as an extraordinary person. Her friends do not like him, nor do mine or my family. I see a deceitful individual, someone who is young, never been in a relationship, desperate for attention, living with his parents, and willing to disrupt someone else's life for his own benefit. My wife is stunning, and she has admitted that she finds me more attractive than him. The mere act of pursuing a married woman is morally wrong in my view. No man should do that, let alone be around my daughter. He claims to have moral integrity, yet he is undermining his values through this behavior. I have found myself dangerously close to confronting him physically 2 separate times, though I am not a violent person. But my daughter is my motivation now. I will never do anything to jeopardize our relationship. I know everyone will advise me to leave her, but I do not want to. I physically cannot. I cannot visualize a life without her. She has been with me for half of my existence. We have shared life's experiences from high school and college to traveling and living in different states, and she was my first partner just as I was hers. It is also incredibly challenging because I cannot shake the disturbing images of them being intimate from my mind. I know it will happen if she chooses him, if it has not already occurred, and we have not been intimate since November. I miss her deeply, and it is difficult to comprehend this new version of her. She has always been the jealous type, confronting me about dreams in which she thinks I am unfaithful, even though I have never cheated. I just wanted to vent here and see if anyone else has experienced something similar, where all hope seems lost, yet somehow it works out. I apologize to anyone who has to read this and reflect on their own story. This situation is incredibly painful. Story 2. I lost the love of my life, a 31-year-old beauty from Olympia, while I was just 23 in Alberta. You could have made this work, she said, before leaving for another man. I'll regret not fighting harder for a love that felt like heaven. Can I ever find this again? I encountered my former girlfriend in July of 2023. I am from Alberta, Canada, and she is from Olympia, Washington. My friend who resides in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I went on a road trip through Washington and Oregon in July 2023, during which I met her at a bar. I was 21 years old and she was 29 at that time. From the very first moment we laid eyes on each other, we felt an instant attraction. I approached her and we began conversing. One thing led to another, and after leaving the bar, we grabbed a bite to eat, went back to her place, and things progressed. It was the most incredible intimacy I have ever experienced. We talked throughout the night, and it was the most genuine instant connection I have ever felt. She dropped me back off at our hotel, and we agreed to keep in contact. I could see in her eyes that she was saddened by the likelihood that we would never see each other again. In the following months, we continued to communicate. We began to realize just how similar we were. The way we were raised, the manner in which we socialize, what we seek in a relationship, our love languages all aligned perfectly. If I could have created a checklist of my ideal woman, she would have been the exact embodiment of that. We fell deeper and deeper for each other while staying in touch over the coming months. I traveled to see her for the first time in December of 2023. It was one of the most wonderful few days of my life. I had no idea that a relationship like this was even possible. In February of 2024, she visited me for the first time. Once again, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I had the chance to show her my hometown, and I felt immense pride in sharing my home with her. In August 2024, I flew to Washington to spend a week with her. Although I had never been religious, the love I felt for her during that week made me want to believe in God. Those were truly the happiest moments of my life. It was also my birthday week, and she made me feel incredibly respected and cherished. It was the greatest sensation I had ever experienced. I was completely certain that somehow I would marry this woman. The last time we saw each other was in February 2025 when she visited me again. It was another remarkable trip. I gave her a promise ring, which she was with me when I purchased. However, our love did not come without challenges. People in our lives often judged us for this relationship, claiming we were merely living in a fantasy world. This was particularly difficult for us, including my parents. I regret to admit that I never introduced her to them, fearing their judgment would ruin our relationship. She frequently expressed that she felt I was hiding her. I did not intend to do this. I grew up in an abusive home and did not want to expose her to it. She often told me she felt unloved and that I needed to make more romantic gestures. I would write her handwritten letters and send them with photos of us together. For our anniversary in December, I created a slideshow with our pictures. I bought her a beautiful necklace in August. When I left in August, I placed little sticky notes around her apartment, telling her I loved her. I presented her with the promise ring in February. The slideshow included details about the trip I took with my friend and our stay in Olympia that night, set to songs that held meaning for us. I recognized that our relationship was challenging for her, yet I struggled to find ways to convey my love. I called her every morning and every night, and sometimes she would call me in tears, sharing how much the distance affected her. I did my best. I had just completed university, and it was difficult for me to visit her as often as she wanted while juggling work and studies, especially with unsupportive parents. Nevertheless, she was there for me throughout my schooling until the end. We had a long-term plan to be together in a meaningful way. She intended to let me move out of my parents' house, live independently for a year while gaining experience in my field, and then we would decide whether she would move to Canada or I would move to Washington. I had just finished university and did not even get a chance to execute this plan. 2 months ago, I convinced her to join Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was something I had been training in for a while, and I thought her participation would give us something to bond over. Initially, it worked. There was a man there who she heard rumors allegedly had feelings for her. She was upfront with me about this and his behavior because she was uncertain about his feelings. Based on his actions, I could tell he was interested in her, and I communicated that to her. She was simply trying to be transparent with me. Last Saturday, he asked her out, and she declined, informing him she was in a relationship. On Tuesday, she ended our relationship, stating that his proposition made her realize she did not want to be with me. To my knowledge, they have already begun seeing each other. I will regret for the rest of my life that I consistently failed to make her happy. She told me I was selfish and inconsiderate, which she believed led to our relationship's downfall. She insisted that if I truly wanted to, I could have made it possible to see her more often. She said she did not end things for this man without giving me prior warnings about her feelings. I cannot believe I will never see her again. I am uncertain if heaven exists, but if it does, I am convinced it feels precisely how I felt during our time together. My feelings for her were so profound that I cannot begin to articulate them. Most people go through their entire lives without experiencing this kind of love. I loved her with every fiber of my being. The chances of us meeting were literally 1 in several million. Moreover, the compatibility we shared was remarkable. I truly believe we were meant to be together, and I messed things up significantly. Before meeting her, I never envisioned myself in a long-distance relationship. I loved her so deeply that the distance became inconsequential. Most individuals never have the opportunity to love someone in this way. This past week has been filled with despair. She was the most incredible person I have ever had the privilege of knowing. I want her back desperately. What should I do? In summary, I lost the love of my life. We were in a long-distance relationship, and I fear I will never find love like this again.